district have been busy buying back their homes.
In western Connecticut is a park called Steep Rock Preserve, with an old train tunnel built by hand in the 1870s and abandoned in 1948. Nearby is an amazing tower called Talcott Tower I've been wanting to check out, and I thought I'd also end the day at a cemetery called Cedar Hill, near the New Haven area. Today, I'm checking out western Connecticut. I'm at Talcott Mountain State Park in Connecticut, where there is this prominent tower I've seen many times, kind of towering over the Housatonic Valley. Today I'm going to be checking out an abandoned train tunnel in Connecticut, kind of in the Housatonic Valley where I am right now. I'm driving south. Passed by this tower sticking up over the skyline. Thought I'd stop and check it out on the way. It's called Heubelin Tower. Short trail to the summit. Why not see what it's all about? Damn fine views right here. And a steep cliff. Holy crap. Yeah, I would not want to fall here. But this is the Housatonic River Valley down below. You can see, looking this way, kind of northwest. That must be southern Massachusetts, kind of behind this tree. Connecticut doesn't have much tall mountains, but it has these weird, like, steep ridgeline hill things. Someone firing off some rounds over there. Here we are, right at the top of Mount Talcott. At the top of Talcott Mountain is Heubelin Tower, the fourth iteration of towers built here since 1810. At one point, it was a guest house with residents including Ronald Reagan and Dwight D. Eisenhower. Now, it's open to the public and offers spectacular 360-degree views. These mountaintop towers seem to be a thing in New York and New England. They're all over the place. Like Holyoke House in Mass, Catterskill House. There's one on Mount Tom, also in Mass. And this one, they were all built in the mid to late 1800s. I guess there was a fad back then. This one was actually built in 1875. And that one burned down. The one that's standing now is the fifth iteration of the tower here, built in 1914. So even that is over 100 years old, and it's still operational. You can have banquets and stuff like that here. It hasn't opened yet for the season. I guess April is a little too early, but this was a great little hike to do. After breakfast, stretch my legs. It's only about two miles round trip. Now I'm gonna go check out Steep Rock Preserve, just about 20 minutes south of here. I'm at the Steep Rock Preserve in western Connecticut. I've come to this park today to film something really cool, an abandoned train tunnel dug by hand in the 1870s. It's actually part of the park. A trail goes through it. You can walk through it. We're up here. We're going to take this yellow dot trail down to this blue trail, and that's the tunnel. This first stretch of the trail is very peaceful. It goes by a river. It's obviously an old rail trail, but they've ripped out the rails. And further down along the trail, you can see there are a lot of these waterfalls that seep into the side. Obviously, they have a good culvert underneath here so it doesn't erode the trail. Let's keep going. On this stretch, it looks like the remains of what used to be a bridge, probably part of the original rail infrastructure. But there's a lot of cool stuff like that. After this little bridge right here, we come to a sign. It says dangerous trail, but maybe just for horses. The trail here really creeps up the side of this steep hill. This hill is actually called Steep Rock Hill, hence the name of the park. And you can see why. It's basically a giant oxbow shape for this river. If you look on a map, with two very steep hills, about 700 feet high, surrounded by water on three sides. I just came down off that steep rock hill, and you approach this beautiful footbridge here. It's called the Hauser Footbridge. This is the second time you cross the same river because it's that weird S-shaped oxbow. So you keep crossing the same river 3 times during this trip. But this is a cool little spot. I thought I'd take a little video of it. let's go up and over. This obviously to prevent bikes from coming through. Oh yeah, I can feel the suspension. Beautiful spring day in Connecticut. Let's continue. And here we go. This is the abandoned train tunnel that I came here for. This was dug by hand with pickaxes in 1871 and operated for until the late 1940s. So that's a pretty short lifespan as far as railroads go. You can feel the cold air just coming out of the ground, even though we're well into April right now and it was 70 degrees earlier. Feels like winter in here. I wouldn't be surprised if we encounter some ice. All right, let's go through. Can we see a light at the end? Yeah, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, you can tell this was not drilled, not blasted. It's very, very rough. The way it's cut, not even at all. I wouldn't be surprised if the trains, came extremely close to the walls when they were coming through here. Oh yeah, this is beautiful. People do actually get in here and post some graffiti. I'm not sure why you would bother since no one even sees it. It's dark all the time, but to each their own. I guess I'm showing it right now, so there's that. And there's the other end of the tunnel. Let's see if I can fix the exposure. Let's take a look behind us. Yep, this is about the halfway point of the tunnel. Very, very roughly cut. And here we are at the other end of the tunnel. There's some drainage issue going on here, but yeah, I kind of like this side more. It seems a little more scenic. It's just beautiful how rough it is and how obviously not machine drilled this tunnel is. I decided to walk back on the other side of the river, back to the parking lot. You can see the continuation of that abandoned rail bed. This side is a lot easier to walk if you don't feel like climbing over that 700-foot hill, is what I did initially. But yeah, this goes right back to the parking lot, and this is a much more flatter, easier walk. Nice way to finish the loop. There's even some benches here along the river if you want to have a picnic. Steep Rock lies in the Housatonic River Valley, which is probably Connecticut's most scenic landscape. But in the urban centers, there's some beautiful landscaping as well. From here, I went to Cedar Hill Cemetery, a beautiful cemetery in the greater Hartford area where some celebrities are buried. It turns out on my drive from that tower I was just at to the abandoned train tunnel I want to see is one of the most famous cemeteries in the U.S. Cedar Hill Cemetery in Hartford. A lot of famous people buried here. A lot of hoity-toity upper-class people. Samuel Colt, inventor of the Colt rifle. Katharine Hepburn, the actress. J.P. Morgan, one of the richest people who ever lived. A lot of others. It's only April 18th and things are starting to come in bloom today. The magnolias are in bloom, daffodils are in bloom, cherry blossoms are in bloom. The cemetery was built in 1864 during the Civil War and during the Victorian era. So it's a lot like the cemeteries around Boston and Cambridge, like Mount Auburn or Forest Hills. They're very into landscaping. Lots of ornate gravestones around. Very pretty how all the magnolias, or maybe the cherries, are in bloom. I can never tell those apart. I noticed right here is probably the first famous gravestone I've walked past so far. Samuel Colt, inventor of the Colt rifle, and his wife are buried here. I'm walking up towards the highest point in the cemetery. There appear to be some big mausoleums and obelisks up there. I want to go check them out. This is Mausoleumville. part of the cemetery. A lot of big ones. Very interesting one right here, which I've never seen before. This is for Morgan. I'm not sure it's for JP Morgan. I think he's further down. Interesting, right in front of that Morgan mausoleum is Heubelin. I'm pretty sure that was the name of the tower I just ascended. I just passed the grave of Gideon Wells and his family. He was Secretary of the Navy during the Civil War and kind of the father of the modern Navy as we know it. I remember reading about him. See that right there? It's a gravestone with Chinese. I can't read it, but they made it into a bench. I love it when people do that with their graves, make it something sittable, something scenic. I just think it's a great idea. And also check this out. Imagine if they took field trips for little kids here to a cemetery. God, I would love that as a kid. It turns out that huge Morgan mausoleum I was just at was in fact for JP Morgan. No wonder it was so big. And right over here is, of course, Katharine Hepburn's grave. Like all the graves here, it's for a family. And this must be hers, considering all the tchotchkes on it. Katharine Hepburn, 1907 to 2003. For some reason, I thought she died in the 80s. Wow. There's a cool hill nearby, but I'm not sure what I'm doing tonight. Not sure I want to sleep in the van again. Steep Rock Preserve was pretty cool, but one thing about getting up early during this time of year when the sun sets at 7:45, days are long. I still have like 3 hours before sunset. So I'm gonna zip up 91 all the way to roughly the Quabbin Reservoir and try to catch sunset on something called Soapstone Hill that looks over the Quabbin Reservoir in Mass. I feel like I should get there just in time. And I don't think I've shown you guys that yet. So, yep, I'm all over the place today. Boy, you guys probably can't see me, but that's what it's like. Stealth camping in the city. This is my first time sleeping on the street in Boston since before winter. And I thought I would get it easy. The weather has been good, but tonight was some kind of freak nor'easter. Dropped down to the 30s, and I'm freaking cold. Thankfully, brought my Jackery battery, my Jackery 1000, and despite not using it in, like 5 months, 6 months, it still has 98% of its charge. That's crazy to me. I feel bad for not using it, but thank God tonight I can power my phone. I also have a little portable space heater that works inside the van. I've run it for hours, and I've never drained the battery. And it heats up the place pretty fast. It's probably full of carbon monoxide, but I just run it for like 10 minutes and then turn it off. Anyway, I think I'm gonna be pretty comfortable tonight. Yeah, I gotta learn to whisper. I'm always a little paranoid sleeping on the street like this, you know. I still have my resident parking permit. From when I lived here up the street, but now it's been 9 months and it says expired on it. So that takes an element of stealth away. Now I have this beautiful comfy bed, but I still don't have a curtain. I'm so stupid for not installing a curtain, man. One of the first things you do, people, install a privacy curtain in your van in case you have to stealth. You don't want to be seen. And you don't want to be doing what I'm doing tonight, like I did when I started out, sleeping on the floor. I have this beautiful bed, but you can see it. Oncoming traffic, flash a light right on you. So I'm sleeping on my freaking living room floor. But, you know, I'm glad I designed it in a way that I did, that I have a living room and not like that trench. All right, car's coming by. Anyway, you get the idea tonight, guys. I'm gonna try to go to sleep as fast as I can, get my phone charging, and in the morning at the ass crack of dawn, I'm gonna move my car somewhere else and then do all my toothbrushing and all that crap, because I just want to vacate this spot in front of this house as quickly as possible. Anyway, I'm gonna call it a night. Hopefully nothing happens. in the middle of the night. If it does, I'll record it. But if nothing happens, and then my next clip is me in the morning slamming the van door shut, that means everything went okay. All right, see you tomorrow, guys.